David the Bugeye Guy here from BugeyeGuy.com with a basic video on how to upshift a Bugeye. This is a video for new Bugeye owners. Everybody always asks me these questions. I figured I'd make a short video and show folks who are unfamiliar how to do it. So these transmissions are pretty beefy, but not as strong as we might like. If you handle them well, they last a really long time. I've had one in Gumby now for about 30 years without any issues. But you can grind in them, and if you do, you can destroy these gearboxes quickly. So it's helpful to know some of these basics. Now the problem arises for some people shifting from second to third, because first gear is non-synchro. And what that means is that you cannot go from second into first while you're rolling. You need to be at a complete stop before you go into first gear. And that's the basic of a non-synchro first. Second, third, and fourth have synchronizers that allow you to shift when the gears are spinning, and the synchronizers help match the speed, but first gear does not. So what you do whenever you need to get into first is you come to a stop, you shift into second to stop the transmission from spinning, and then the transmission goes right into first. And that in and of itself is your first important tool. The second thing you need to know is that when you're shifting from second to third, sometimes people get a little confused up in here in this little neutral zone and actually catch the edge of first because they don't go over far enough to get into this gate. So you really have to go up, over, and forward. And the way I do that is as I'm pushing the shift lever forward, I keep a little pressure to the right, and the minute it gets into neutral, it will actually jump over and line up the shifter with this gate for third gear. So the way it looks is I'm coming up, I have some pressure, and it jumps over, and I go right into third. So that's probably the two most important things I could show you today about how to upshift in a Bugeye. The third thing is less important. It should be pretty obvious. To get reverse, you have to kind of slap the gear over a little bit. There's actually a spring right here. I'm hitting that spring now. If I hit it a little harder, it goes beyond, and then I can engage reverse gear. Reverse is also non-synchro, so you want to make sure you're at a standstill when you engage reverse. And in fact, I also would recommend choosing a synchronized gear like second before going into reverse. So let's start up the car and see how it works. We have a warm day. I'm going to pull the starter after the key is on. This turns on the fuel pump in the ignition. It happens to be an electric fuel pump in this car. And that's how we start it up. We always want to be checking to make sure we have good oil pressure. And we certainly do. So now I'm in neutral. And oh, this is important. You'll notice I started it with my foot off the clutch. Really don't want to ride the clutch in these cars even in neutral, because you can hear actually the RPMs drop slightly when I step on the clutch. That's because you're putting a side load on the crankshaft, and it's just better to work in neutral in these cars whenever you can. You also reduce wear on the throwout bearing. Second, first, and then I ease out the clutch and off we go. And that's about 3,000 RPMs. And now I'm in second. Keep some pressure to the right and into third. And that is the basics of upshifting in a Bugeye.